Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Four Lads to Dream Rangers. I suppose we could call it a Sunday show. It's a bit unprompted. Sometimes I just turn up and talk about Rangers, and yeah, you might see a phenomenon this morning, which is me smiling a few times. Rangers have finally, looks like got a deal for Lawrence Shankland over the line, and I'm personally delighted about this. It's happening finally, and we're getting him on a 2-year deal with an option for another one. Lawrence Shankland is finally going to become a Rangers player. Not only is he going to become a Rangers player, he's going to become a Rangers player for free. And we'll discuss all that. And yeah, it's something that I'm particularly delighted with. I've long since championed a move for Lawrence Shankland, and yeah, I had to check, to be honest, because I talk so much pish that, and even I admit that in life and in Rangers pods in general, that I was sure that Shankland was one that I wanted, and sure enough, I have backed it quite heavily. So even back in 2023, I was saying go and get Lawrence Shankland. So I'll do my best this morning, as your normal folks. It's just me, it's the comments. I'm going to try and get as many of them up as I can. And yeah, as well as kind of talking on it as well. Rangers have done something that really pleases me. I see my good friend Gary in the comments, and Gary and I were brought up in a way that Rangers were the biggest and best, the leading club, which is where I aspire for Rangers to get back to be. But they've done something that makes perfect sense. We've had a really poor season. They've finished above us. Why don't we just go and sign our captain? And we've done it. And not only have we done it, we've ripped them apart doing it as well. We've signed them, or we're going to sign them for a very low cost or free transfer, which is the way it is. He was reportedly having signed a 3-year contract last summer, but it had a break clause in it. And that break clause was designed in a way that he might finally get his dream move, because for Lawrence Shankland, this has been his dream move, and it has been for a very long time to sign for his club. He's never hid his love for Rangers. And what I also love about Lawrence Shankland is the fact that he's actually slayed Rangers quite a few times. He's scored plenty of goals, and he's showed a great attitude when he's played us, and that for me is an ultimate professional right there. He loves the club, but will still turn up at Ibrox this season and score twice, one with his hand. So he owes us a wee favour. Yeah, I'm personally absolutely delighted. It's how Rangers should go about their business. Elliot Watt from Motherwell, go and take him, he's our best player. Luke Graham at Dundee, go and take him, he's our best player. It's what Walter would have done. That's what good Rangers teams are built upon. A solid core of Scottish players around the football club. And we just go and cherry pick and take the best and make it our squad and make them integrate. So, and equally at the same time, you then sicken the other ones and take their best players. And that's Rangers. That's what Rangers should be doing. So I'm personally delighted. What are we getting? We're getting a guy that is experienced, that is a leader, that is a diehard Rangers fan, that at those vital moments you will get an extra 10% out of him. And the reason you'll get an extra 10% out of him is because he is a Rangers fan and he desperately wants to be here. He desperately wants to play for the football club. So you'll get that little extra 10% that we don't have in our squad, that we're not getting. We've got good players. I've said it for a long time. We've maybe not got as many as we would have wanted, but we've got something there that we can start putting stuff about. You're signing a guy that could instantly become our captain. Will he be our captain? I'm not too sure, but he's got captaincy and leadership qualities, which is absolutely perfect. And that for me is key, because we need more guys like that. So, when I first heard of this a couple of days ago, I'm going to give David Edgar credit here. David Edgar told me about Lawrence Shankland about 6 weeks ago, and that's the God's honest truth. I can't remember what day it was. We were driving to a game. David's very knowledgeable. and I don't mind crediting him on this one. And he said Stevie Lawrence has got a break clause in his contract in the summer, and I wouldn't surprise me if we go back in for him. And I didn't understand the break clause thing, or you take these things, right? Okay, let's see what happens. But David's been spot on with everything he said. Lawrence Shankland does have that break in his contract. Funny thing about Lawrence Shankland is he waited all summer for Rangers to move and sign him last year. He's waited nearly every summer for Rangers to move and sign him, and that's really important. He is definition of a Rangers fan. He doesn't really like them across the road as well, which is always a bonus, which everybody would have seen his little outburst of effing cheats. And yeah, this is one that just makes perfect sense. It's got everything for me. He'll score goals, he'll lead the club, he'll give you that extra. He's at a perfect age, he's experienced, he's Scottish, absolutely knows the clubs. This is the definition of a proper signing, and in doing so, you take the captaincy off the team that finished higher than us, and you go and sicken them at the start. What I will say, and this is my arrogance, and it's not meaning to be, it's just what I believe from Rangers. I've seen a lot of Hearts fans and everybody else saying, losing them to our rivals and stuff is a huge blow. Hearts aren't our rivals. We've got one rivals. When I hear Aberdeen fans, Hearts fans, and everybody else saying they're our big rival, we're not rivals with you. You're just another team. And this is Rangers. It's about time we turned ourselves back into the Rangers that I know and love, which is an all-conquering, all-dominating Rangers team. I know we won't win everything, because that never really happens. But we should certainly be in the mix for everything. And being as feeble and as passive as we have in recent years isn't the way I want my football club to run. I want my football club to respond. I want my football club to take the best players. And I want my football club to act like they are a big team. So, this is a good move for me. A really exciting one. And what's great about it for Lawrence Shankland is Lawrence Shankland has waited for this for so long. It's like a dream come true for him, and I love that. This is our team. And he's absolutely delighted to be joining it, and that pleases me. That absolutely pleases me. So who's next? Rumours are very strong. Luke Graham of Dundee rumoured that he is very close to a move for Rangers. Again, rumours. Rumours that we're very much in from Jude Penrice again for left back. So that's 3 Scots already. So that's a good start. 3 Scots for the best part, £3-4 million, or 3 players with Scottish knowledge and SPL players. Great in the dressing room. That for me is a pretty decent start. And then there's Elliot Watt at Motherwell. That rumour talked about on Rangers Review for quite well. Joshua Barry has been credited of long since saying that Rangers are huge admirers of Elliot Watt. Start to chuck Elliot Watt into the mix, and you've finally got a specialist midfielder in there. And I've talked about this. You'll know I've talked about this for a while. He's one that I really want us to go and get. So then you've got Watt, Penrice, Shankland, get Luke Graham. These are people to me that are sensible signings. Nobody can sit here, right, and say that anyone's going to work out and be perfect. And I hate the old no-brainer thing, because every time we talk about a no-brainer, they most normally turn out to be very poor. But I think that a lot of these make sense. That's the best way to put it. And not only that, it's cherry picking the best players from around us that know the league and everything else. Then you go and sprinkle a couple of signings from abroad. Go and get your exciting winger. Go and get these players that you might want. Get the balance right. What we did last summer, time will probably be very kind to Kevin Thelwell in a way that Manny Fernandez is going to mature, Yusuf Chermiti is going to mature. We're going to get these players for a lot of money. And, players like Miovski and stuff like that, I'm not willing to write him off yet. He got what, maybe, I think he got 15 odd goals, 13, but somewhere 13, 14, 15 goals. Somebody might be able to tell me. And, he can score goals. We need to get players that are going to create chances, proper chances. Players that are going to score goals and players that are going to create chances. We need wingers that are going to have, 15 goal involvements. We need guys in midfield that are going to create and score 10, 15 goals. Now, Tello Asgard, funnily enough, has got a very good, I think he got 8 goals this year, Tello Asgard, but he wasn't prominent enough in games. He maybe isn't going to work out at Rangers. We need guys that are going to be strong throughout the game, throughout games, and really affect stuff, a different profile. And, look how long it takes players to settle in at Rangers. They don't always hit the ground running. So there's quite a lot in that squad and in last summer that might be able to still come into it. So yeah, there's of course, look, there's a lot to be done. Of course there is. Like, do we need a new goalie? Yeah. Need a new left back? Well, would you go Ashton Scally and Romans? Jesus, can't speak Sunday morning. Yeah, you would. Right back, you've got Sterling, who's great. I really like Sterling, but he's just not available, and you can't not play him. And then in the middle, you've got Fernandes. You've got John Suter. Put Graham in there, and then you go and get yourself an outstanding centre back. We do need somebody like Connor Goldson. And I know that Connor Goldson had his critics. I think Connor Goldson missed 10 games for Rangers in 6 years or something, which is just ridiculous. We need somebody that's going to be the rock that everyone's built upon. Connor Goldson was signed for £3 million. Value for money, Connor Goldson was absolutely terrific. So we need somebody like him, somebody like a Philip Hollander, that classy kind of centre back, one that preferably not like Philip Hollander was available for 10 minutes. So yeah, we need a statement centre back. Then you go into midfield and people will shout at me, and I know you will shout at me. I still think Nico Raskin's the best player Rangers have. Yeah, I'm heavily biased there, but I still think he is. But we need quality around him because Nico at the moment is trying to do 20 jobs and he can't settle in, and he needs a quality 6. He needs to be able to play as he gets forward, he roams. See the way Nico Raskin was at Falkirk. That's the Nico Raskin I want. A Nico Raskin that drives forward, a Nico Raskin that doesn't need to sit, the Nico Raskin that can go put his foot in the ball, that has quality around him. We need to match Nico Raskin's quality. And then you look at this is a problem area for me. We need a forward-thinking midfielder, somebody that can create and score goals, and then you need wingers that are really going to create and score goals and be that season. I think 55 season when Ryan Kent really sprung into life. I think Ryan Kent was something like 20 goal and assist, because Ryan Kent, if you remember, his goal actual input was pretty poor up until that season. I think he at that point managed 10 goals or something, Ryan Kent, in that season, that is numbers for wingers is really quite decent. If you get 10 and 10 assists or whatever, that's the kind of move you want to go and make. But we don't have them. We need to find them. And then up front, I'll be honest with you. See, if you had Chermiti, Shankland, Miovski, and Ryan Nadiri, I think that you've got a forward line you could start building around. So, maybe somebody might go. Maybe they might take the big money for Chermiti. They might take the big money for Raskin. They might take big money for Manny Fernandes. But what's nice? We've actually got players that we can go and sell for 20 million or whatever. And a lot of people are saying that they would go and they would sell Raskin and whatever. If he has a good World Cup, I would sell Nico Raskin, because I would do whatever benefits Rangers first. So if Nico Raskin has a brilliant World Cup and gets that move, and we get 15, 20 million for Nico Raskin on the back of a World Cup, but he's playing for one of the best sides, a Belgium team who will be the dark horses they always are. We want them to go deep into quarterfinals, semi-finals, kind of thing. That would be absolutely terrific for me. Would you get big money for them boys? Of course you would. But listen, a lot of people question Nico Raskin, question his attitude and everything else. I can only tell you what I know, and what people at Rangers tell me is that Nico Raskin wants to win. and he's a little shit and he buzzes around and he pushes people and he wants people to win, I don't think that's necessarily a wrong thing. I think it becomes wrong when you don't have the right characters around them to react. Do you think if Nico Raskin's shouting at Lawrence Shankland, wanting an extra 10%, Lawrence Shankland's going to start bubbling about it? I think that's the difference. Put the right people around Nico Raskin instead of pushing your best people out. That's kind of where I am. But there's a lot of work to be done at Rangers this summer. I think we know about it. I think we know about that. And it's been heavily documented, hasn't it? Of course it has. There's going to be huge changes. We need huge changes. Rangers need to be leaders. Rangers need to be at the focal point of having a very good summer. Going to get Lawrence Shankland on a free, captain of the team that finished above us, that had a very good year. Rangers fan scores goals, then yeah, it's an absolute no-brainer. I'm going to answer this. Did Raskin fall out with Rowe? No, he never. He absolutely never. Nico Raskin had a hamstring strain with 3 games left in a season that was done, and he wasn't rest. And this comes days after, and you all remember this, that the manager was saying he was his guy, and he was his guy on the pitch, and he was his person in the dressing room. And then all these rumours come out. I spoke to Nico personally about this. I don't mind telling you. Absolutely laughed at it. And so did others at the football club. There's been no fallout between Nico Raskin and Danny Rowe. So don't believe everything. I think there's this desire, to rubbish things. And one thing that hasn't happened and what normally happened, it started happening under Clement, it started happening under Michael Beale, was these stories and these rumours that that dressing rooms are being lost and everything else. And I can categorically tell you that I don't think that's happened under Danny Rowe. It's certainly not the stories and the rumours of the people that do tell you. So I'm not convinced that ever really happened. Did he have an unnecessary spat with James Tavernier? Yeah, I think we've all seen that. That was something that should have been avoided by both parties. I think at the end of the day, captains and the head coaches, should always put Rangers first, and it was two people colliding, and Danny Rowe maybe thought he was doing the best for the football club and setting the right, agenda, which is when you ask to play and do whatever the club said you should, and that's entirely true. But there's sometimes you just need to do what's, manage and play the game, and I think we missed a boat there. But anyway, I'm going off track to what is a morning of very good news. Lawrence Shankland signing for Rangers is something that he's waited on personally for years. That's something I'm absolutely delighted with. It makes it great for me. Great start to the morning. Credit as well to Robert Grieve of The Sun, who broke the story last night. It's a first in what's going to be a very good summer for Rangers Football Club. And it has to be a very good summer for Rangers Football Club. And that's exactly where we are. Nobody's under any illusions here, folks. Nobody's under, Lawrence Shankland doesn't fix Rangers, but it's a very good start. Lawrence Shankland can finish. He can score goals. He can lead. He's a Rangers fan. Fantastic start for me. We've talked about what we needed. Rangers could do 12 signings this summer. No problem at all. And he's a very good one to start. So what's next? Big day for Rangers women today. They're second in the league, behind Hearts. Hearts play away to Hibs. Rangers play at Glasgow City, who are third. Rangers have secured second place in Champions League, but they have a shot today at the title. I will say this for Leanne Crichton and a very young Rangers team. They've done fantastically well. That game's at Petershill. I think it starts at 1:10. And it's live on BBC Scotland. They went to the other cup final, which Glasgow City beat Rangers in 2-1, and they also are in the Scottish Cup final. I think that's next week. Under Leanne Crichton, I think they've had a tremendous season. Budget's massively cut. Investment in the Rangers team has been scaled back, and they've still done tremendous. Rangers have got some brilliant players coming through. Lily Boyce, May Croft, 16, 17-year-old girls coming through and playing women's football against seasoned pros. So good on for them. I hope they do really well today. If you're in the area, get along to Petershill Park and try and support the team. Nick Docherty and Jodie McCleary signing new deals this week is good for them as well, adds a wee bit of stability. So yeah, great for the women. I really hope they do well. I think the last 3 or 4 years they went to the final day and it's never really worked out for them. They've not managed to win the game, or they've lost it in the final minutes, or whatever's happened. So that's something we want to avoid. Just go and win the game today. And then if Hearts win, credit to them. They've won the league on merit, because I think they've led for quite a while. And certainly they've led for the last few weeks. So, that's happening. As I said, that's on BBC iPlayer, BBC Online if you want to watch that. I think it starts at 10 past 1 today. Last day in English Premiership as well. And lots of drama there. West Ham, Tottenham fighting it out to see who stays up. Two huge clubs. So somebody's going to be in for a shock there. Somebody's going down. So there's plenty, I think, to keep us entertained today, all football-wise on the telly box. For four lads, there's no Sunday show this evening. Guys are taking a bit of a break for a couple of weeks being the summer. I think Rob's on holiday, a couple of other things. David Herd and I filmed the Rangers history show for next week. These things aren't time-stamped, so we've done that in advance, so that'll go out Thursday. Kenny and I will be live Monday and Wednesday. So yeah, I think there's plenty from Four Lads will continue in the summer. There'll be 101 rumours, won't there be? So there's plenty to talk about. But what we are talking about this morning is that Lawrence Shankland will become a Rangers player, reported widely on multiple platforms. And on multiple papers and things this morning. Robert Gray wrote the story last night, and it's been followed up when Chris Jack says it's inevitable. Then that's good enough for me. He will sign a 2-year contract with an extra year, and it will be a free low-cost deal. He had a break in his contract. And what I absolutely love as well is Lawrence Shankland on holiday with his family, his wife and stuff, and as soon as Rangers come calling, pack the bags in, we're going home. It's finally happening, and nobody will feel better at this moment in time than Lawrence Shankland. So good on him. Really, absolutely delighted. This is finally happening for Rangers. I think it's a no-brainer. I think it's one that makes perfect sense. So, yeah, a lot of try and talk about a couple of things people have asked. People have asked, do you want Cammy Devlin? Also free transfer. Listen, here's the problem with Cammy Devlin for me, and it's not a Cammy Devlin problem, it's a Rangers problem. Raskin, Chugwani, Barron, Diamandi are all so similar. I think Cammy Devlin's quite a similar player. So you would have to get more, I think, out of players, or would you have to sell? Would you probably then sell Diamandi and Barron? You're losing one of your Scots then, because Chugwani's probably going to stay. Would you sell Raskin? Is Cammy Devlin the required quality to replace Nico Raskin? I don't know. Some players are elevated. Some people are better than what you actually think as well. I don't watch Hearts every week. Cammy Devlin is a busy player. He tackles hard. He's always everywhere. But our midfield. My biggest issue with the midfield is that we need different players. And I think that's where I am. We need a different profile. We need a six that can pass and dictate. And we need somebody in midfield that can score. If it's going to be this 4-2-2 thing, which I think he will play two up front now, then it's you need a different profile in there. We need more from our midfield. It's just never really clicked. So yeah, a lot of people have their opinions on that. I've given mine. I think you need quality in there. You need quality next to Nico Raskin. So people disagree. That's fine. This is not a dictatorship. I've been wrong plenty. I'm wrong every week when it comes to Rangers. I'm big enough to admit that. But here's the thing: Four Lads is a platform that is honest. It's true. It's a fans' platform. Me rambling for 25 minutes is just my opinion. It doesn't make it right. It really doesn't. I don't mind anybody coming on that disagrees or says, Stevie, I don't think that's right, or Stevie, I've got another opinion. brilliant. Like, we're all Rangers fans because ultimately our opinions may be different, but our want is that Rangers are successful. I think Lauren Shankland is the first signing into being the start of that. So yeah. What else is happening today? Yusuf Chermiti, it's his birthday. I quite like I've given him pelters, haven't I, all year. I don't mind that. I'm honest enough. He's shut me up. Good on him. He's a young man. I think that's forgotten at times. It is for me. And he deserves a brilliant amount of credit. He scored some wonderful goals, an outstanding overhead kick, an absolutely unbelievable volley, which I loved, which hit the bar on the way in and chested down, and it was just. Did it hit the bar? Did it? I can't remember, but it was absolutely perfect. And he deserves a massive amount of credit. So good on him. He never really played for Rangers until December. I think his second start was December, and he's ended up with 18 odd goals. Throw it out there. Yusuf Chermiti next season could be a 30 goal Yusuf Chermiti, and then you stick 20 that Shankland will get, because Shankland will get 20. He always gets 20. You stick that next to Chermiti, and then all of a sudden you've got that magical 50-goal partnership, which any Rangers strike force that's successful should have. You're also adding 30 goals that we didn't have last season. So yeah, this is a promising first step for me. Still need players that are going to create. I'd love to see Mikey Moore back. Look, that's a pipe dream, isn't it? The pipe dream. That Mikey Moore comes back on that left-hand side, then you could dovetail him and Gassama. Would you sell Gassama? Listen, if somebody gave me 10 million or so for Gassama, the way that Monaco were going to in January, a move that I think turned his head, unfortunately. I think that I would be quite happy to do that. I quite like young Calvin Miller at Falkirk, but it looks like he's going to Hearts for around 700,000. So that's a good move for them and a good move for him. So yeah, it's interesting. Mikey Moore's a dream. We need to sort out that right hand side. We really do. I think that's absolutely, spot on that we've not had a proper right hand side for a very long time. We need to fix that. I don't think we've had a proper right hand side since, Czerny obviously, but then you go back to Candace and Seema done well out there. Seema's apparently floating around for £4 million. Would I take Seema? I think he absolutely would. He was good. I liked Seema. So yeah, there's options. People asking what about Ant-Man or Asgard. Truthfully, I really like Ant-Man. I said that he could be one that comes to fruition in the second season. But if you were getting your money back, you were getting £3-4 million for Oliver Ant-Man, I'd probably shake his hand. Tello Asgard, I'd definitely shake his hand. Danilo, I would sell. As much as I love Danny, and I really do, I don't see a future for Danny at Rangers now. Absolutely loved his dad. We'll always have that trip to Easter Road, which his dad, it was absolutely mental. Anybody at Easter Road that night would have seen that. Try being in the car with him. It was tremendous. Young Finlay Curtis comes back into that squad, or do you loan him out? It probably depends on what we do in the summer. So yeah, there's things to do. Of course there is. There's decisions to be made, but I think there's big decisions as well. Jack Butland need to make a decision there. I would shake Jack Butland's hand and say thanks very much. Hope that he didn't miss it as I've done it as well. But Jack's been good for us, but at the same time for a lot of money. I just seen towards the end of the season, I like Jack Butland. Listen, I've talked about him before. People say he's the worst ever. I think that's honestly not true. But I've seen too many shots at him. Let's talk about the Motherwell first goal, should save it, the Hibs first goal. These are ones that go straight at his feet. Then you start to look back on his catalogue of goals that he conceded, and there's too many. He doesn't really move his feet quick enough in that. There's too many that I would have hoped Jack Butland saves. And then he does make wonderful saves. Of course he done. Of course he does. He made a few at Parkhead. He made a few at Tynecastle. He's capable of it, but he's absolutely capable of letting in the worst goal as well. So we need to fix that. We need a good goalie. And I think, personally, Jack Butland to shake things up as well should be moved on. And I love Jack. I really do. I really like Jack Butland. He's been good for us on a free transfer, but sometimes you need to make tough decisions and proper decisions. And I think I would move Jack Butland on for the right replacement. So, yeah, I would keep Manny Fernandez. I want to keep Manny Fernandez. I want to get a good partner next to him. I want to keep Nico Raskin and get a good partnership next to him. And Stevie's flip-flop of ideas, I would keep Yusuf Chermiti as well. But realistically, if big money come in for any of them, I know what happens. So, they've all done really well. So, listen, it's going to be interesting. We'll all have our opinions. I think that's absolutely key, and it's valid as well. But yeah, I'm really pleased with this Lawrence Shankland news. As I said at the top of the show, reported now on various news channels, broke by Robert Grieve, Tim, credit for him last night on The Sun, followed up by the big hitters, Andy Newport, Chris Jack, etc., following that up with Lawrence Shankland. Now being talked about on Sky that Rangers will sign Lawrence Shankland. I don't think this matters what Hearts do. He has a break clause in his contract. We will be signing him for, it'll be disclosed, but it will be free. And he'll sign a 2-year contract with an optional one. So, yeah, that's the news today, ladies and gentlemen. It's a fantastic start to Rangers transfer window. We're signing a captain, we're signing a leader, and more importantly, we're signing a Rangers fan, somebody that's wanted this move for years and years and years. He sat all summer last, waiting for Rangers to make that move. They didn't. He was clever enough to go and sign a contract that meant that this would be an opportunity as well. And not only was he clever enough, he had a season where he proved that he could still score goals against Rangers and be professional enough, and I think that's fantastic. Did I like it? No, but he always scored goals for Hearts against Rangers. So, and he deserves credit for his being as professional to go and do that. So good for him. Lawrence Shankland will become a Rangers player this season. Strong rumours that Luke Graham will be following him, that Rangers are interested in. Elliot Watt, that Rangers are close to signing James Penrice. There's rumours about Ross McCrory, which consistently won't go away. So it's rumours central, and we're looking forward to seeing what's to come as well. Before we go, Rangers have finally released a tribute to James Tavernier this morning. Too late, in my opinion. That should have been done straight away. I've said a lot about James Tavernier, but anyone that's with the football club for 11 years deserves our congratulations and our thanks for all the efforts that he has brought to the football club. So he goes with our best wishes, regardless of what people might think, regardless of my own opinion. I'm brave enough to give them. So I'm sad about how it ended, but I think it's the right thing to do. Rangers have to move on. Rangers need to change the cycle and do things differently. And I think that included James Tavernier leaving. But to get back to it, there is a tribute to him on the Rangers website. So go and do that and go and look at that. And you can make up your own mind about whatever you want to say or like or whatever. For four lads, as I said, we'll be back Monday, Wednesday. I think the Friday show will be back. We're normally back. The history show will be out on Thursday night. Rangers. We had an idea, me and Davey, on the history show. We might do a show called Rangers Icons, where we just pick a favourite over the course of the summer. Me and Davey, and we just go on and talk about them. We talked about many of them on the history show this week, the likes of Mark Hateley, the likes of Mark Walters, the likes of Connor Goldson. I think a lot when we talk about or we remember players, we forget about stats and things that they've done. So that might be an interesting one. People can tell us if that sounds interesting. The summer's going to be an interesting one for signings for the World Cup and things like that. But I'd like to put out shows that are different that people could pick up that weren't live and try and ultimately at one point I would absolutely love to be in a position where Four Lads has a show every single day and content about Rangers. That would be fantastic, but I can't do it all on my own. I've said we're looking for podcasters. I'm talking to somebody at the moment who might be ideal for the show, and we'll see who we can get new in and add some life to Four Lads and make things. I always think it's better to give different voices, and I want people that support Rangers to come on and not come from other podcasts necessarily, because I don't like doing that to other podcasts and things. But I'd like to give people the opportunity to come and talk about Rangers, and Four Lads is that. It's a fans channel. It was Kenny's idea. It was started by us, and yeah, let's see where the summer brings. I would love to have a content going out every single day. That would be nice. That's the dream, isn't it? But one person's dream is going to come true. Lawrence Shankland is going to be a Rangers player. So good for him. He's finally getting that dream move. Comment there, Shankland would go to Celtic if they doubled the wages. No, he wouldn't. I can absolutely promise you that. Good thanks to our sponsors, Rhino Express, Clyde Fire Protection and Joinery, Athol Industrial Solutions, CSD Air Conditioning, Candid, and our Sunday sponsors, rydc.co.uk. Thank you to everybody in the comments, everybody that follows us. If you haven't, please like and subscribe on YouTube. That really helps us. You'll see a little... somewhere on the top corner, I think it's up there, you'll see a little QR code if you want to join the podcast and become a member and help the show. You can do for as little as 99p. What does that do? It helps us. Not everybody does this, and has the correct equipment. We need to buy equipment, we need to do stuff. So everything that you do by supporting helps support us. So thank you very much for that. And yeah, that's the news this morning. As we said, Rangers women play at 1 p.m. today, I think 1:10, live on BBC iPlayer. And then you've got the English football later on today. Somebody mentioned Formula 1 as well. So yeah, all that's on. Plenty of sport. Congratulations on your new job. Thank you. My first week this week, really enjoyed it. I had a really great first week. Thoroughly enjoy it. And yeah, really appreciate that. Whereas Amrit's here. Amrit was going to come on with us midweek. Amrit's really busy. He owns his own company. And yeah, Amrit is still very much part of Four Lads. Nobody has left Four Lads. So all your favourite people are still there. So don't worry about that, Coop. So thank you, everybody. Take care. Have a wonderful Sunday. Spend it with your families. Spend it watching Rangers women. Spend it watching West Ham and Tottenham fight up relegation. Spend it being happy. That's the most important thing. Take care. Really appreciate all your support for Four Lads. Lawrence Shankland is becoming a Rangers player this week, and it's long overdue. Congratulations, Lawrence. And it's just the start for Rangers this summer. Take care, folks.
The Four Lads podcast is sponsored by Rhino Express, Clydeview Joinery, Athol Industrial Solutions Limited, and CSD Air Conditioning, in partnership with Black Rooster and Art of Gold. Thank you for listening to or watching the podcast. We hope you enjoyed the show.